Hello and welcome to the second episode of Coffee and Controller podcast.
Yes, that's right.
Not the official name.
We don't have a proper name.
Yeah.
We'll make it up as we go along, like we're doing with all the
Everything.
content.
So, and in every episode we deal with the game of the year. So for this year we're going with 1998, and it was quite a banger of a year.
Yeah, but there's like some big games drop, but like
Not
some,
even games,
like pop
events in the year.
culture. Pop culture. France 98 World Cup, we had that. No?
Was that the year of the headbutt?
No.
No.
That was 2006.
Okay.
You're 8 years too early.
Then, but was it the FIFA with the bird?
Yes.
Yes. Then we also had it was the Winter Olympics. Also, we had the Clinton Monica Lewinsky thing that also happened in the
Yeah.
world.
Then Pokemon also launched in the US, so like basically English Pokemon. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, the show also started airing that time.
On
So, like-
SBC, about us.
Maybe not here by us, but like it was around that time that like Pokemon like
I
the
would say so,
series started like launched as
We also
well.
had it on ETV and on SABC too, and it was a fire thing because I think ETV had it one day before.
But you also remember, I think ETV had it like, didn't they do like, what do you call it, like an omnibus or something, where it was like just 4 hours of Pokemon on Saturday morning.
Yes, I
So
remember that.
good.
It was so good.
You
Even
catch
though,
up
even
with
though I watched
all-
it all, I just gonna watch it again because
Yeah.
I couldn't record it all.
Yeah.
And then we also had like the Dreamcast launched in Japan, and for South Africans that was another thing that we never got. Like you had to
Yeah.
get some uncle or auntie abroad to like buy you one if you were lucky, and then you still couldn't get games.
The only place I played a Dreamcast was at Toys R Us.
Really?
Yeah, it's like okay, the one in Tiger Valley.
I've never played a Dreamcast. I don't know about
I don't think
that,
I've
Saeed.
never
Saeed
even
was like
seen
3.
one.
I was 3, so no.
So
Still
yeah,
good.
like big pop culture moments, but big for gaming as well.
So what are the big games that happened?
So got top 10. So again, I asked ChatGPT what were the top 10 games for that year. So we get The Legend of Zelda: Ocarina of Time, Half-Life,
Dang.
Metal Gear Solid, Resident Evil 2, Banjo-Kazooie, StarCraft, Grim Fandango, Fallout 2, Thief the Dark Project, and Gran Turismo.
Yeah.
Those are like massive
Again,
titles.
like we had with the games of '97. I feel like a lot of them were the basis of what we have now. Even like the alternate and like the things they tried in those games
Yeah.
is the
Yeah.
things that we live with now in
Like-
the games we have.
And here's the thing, it's like each of those games could easily have won game of the year. Like any other year, like you could put it feels like it could have won it by itself. And then you still have games like Baldur's Gate, Spyro the Dragon, Tenchu, Commandos, Medieval, Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, and Unreal, which were like also games that launched that year. So it's
That's you can kind of see now how PlayStation is starting to enter the chat a little bit
Yes.
more, because the last episode 97, it was like all Nintendo 64 basically.
yeah, but
And now
PlayStation is
PlayStation
starting
with-
to get the foot in there.
Spyro, Resident Evil 2, all of these
Tenchu.
Tenchu, all of these games, Medieval, they're all coming in and establishing the PlayStation basically.
Was Spyro was a demo it was a demo game also, isn't it?
Yes, it was a demo.
Wasn't
and
it on Tomb Raider? Wasn't
It
it like
was-
I think it was everywhere actually.
on every PlayStation disc?
yeah, there was.
But I think it was on the demo of the PlayStation as well. It was PlayStation.
Like when you buy
Yeah,
a
I
PlayStation,
think
you
Yeah.
get
it came
that
with a demo disc.
Yeah.
I think it came with like
I feel like if you had a demo, then you
you
were.
played Spyro.
Not only that, if you made a game and you put it on a demo, you would have caught the sales quicker.
Speaking of that demo, do you guys remember that like weird dinosaur thing, the dinosaur tick demo that it had on where you just
Yes.
move the dinosaur around?
I don't remember that at all.
No, do you not get?
No.
It was just a running
It's just
dinosaur, a
running.
T-Rex, and you could control the head and,
And
the biting.
And the camera, and that
Yeah.
was it.
Is that
And
what
it was
inspired
like-
Google Chrome?
Yeah, I think so.
Was it for a game or just for the console or what?
No, I think it was just tick. Like they
Yeah.
wanted to show what the PlayStation could do.
They also had a game on that demo disc where you were a small man running on blocks, and there was blocks like rolling onto you. Do you remember
yes, Kurushi Final.
that? Yeah.
I
Game.
don't
So you had to
remember
like
that, no.
dodge. You had to like break the blocks before they came, but you had to break them in like a specific order.
I don't
Yo,
remember.
that game was stressful. That I only played the demo.
I wasn't allowed to play it because some friends just showed you how to watch games and not play games. Hey, let me show you this thing.
As you can see, this is the heavy choice for Game of the Year.
It's a fat list for 98.
So 98 is like regarded as one of the greatest and most influential years for games. And like the game that really beat out everything else was Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, which is wild. Like, I think the problem for us was we never had access to it at that time.
That's also true.
So we played it in retrospect.
We never even played it. I feel like we just saw it. Like Cybernet showed us that game.
Yeah.
Like we just like, oh, it looks like.
Nah, but we only started playing when like emulation came into play, like years later. So by then it's dated.
Did you get into N64 emulation?
Yeah.
Really?
I tried, but like the control scheme
It's
just
a
messed
whack.
me up.
It's whack.
I tried to play Super Mario 64 or Mario 64, whatever. I enjoyed it, but like I got to a certain point and I'm like, this is just too stressful for me with the
Yeah.
control scheme. Like I wasn't used to it.
It's very awkward. It's
Yeah.
not good.
Also, were you playing with a controller or were you playing with a keyboard?
I think I had plugged or Bluetoothed the PS4 controller to my laptop.
Oh, okay.
Yo, boy was ahead of the time. Yo, in 98.
No, not 98.
I was going to say now.
Yeah, I had a PS4 in 98.
No, like I know playing it on a keyboard was very awkward. It wasn't optimized for that.
Game Boy emulation on keyboard, it was cool because like Game Boys only have like 4 buttons.
Yeah,
So that was fine.
but that analog stick ruined like the whole experience. Because PlayStation also didn't have analog officially at that time. Like
No.
it was still like a fun feature. It wasn't like a thing.
Yeah, that had too many buttons. Never liked that one. So now we go to what are
our picks for 98? So we're gonna start with Saeed.
Said. He was a 3-year-old child. Tell us what is your favorite game? Child, baby. Damn it.
Don't be upset with me because you guys are old. It's obviously okay. Obviously, would have been Fallout, but I didn't play it yet because it looks like Microsoft Excel. So I haven't played it yet. So I'm gonna have to go with Half-Life.
That's a big.
I didn't play the first one. I'll be honest. I only played the first one once, but I feel like that was enough because I played the second one quite a few times, and I still like my cousins still play it regularly. I'm gonna say Half-Life because I just think the impact that it had on gaming as a whole is
Like
insane.
But what made Half-Life different to other FPS?
I'll tell you what I feel like just on like one level is, you know, Doom kind of like made the FPS genre, like laid the foundation. Half-Life kind of like built that next level. But that's just my thing.
Was Half-Life basically gave us like a story and not like just a chase and kill? Was that the thing that changed Half-Life from the others?
Yeah, it felt like such a fully fleshed out story that I don't know, like for me, because I played it the first time I played it, I got a demo disc from my cousin Clyde, or like a PC format.
Shout out to Clyde.
Yeah, a PC format demo disc that had.
Shout out to PC format.
I think it had like the first, like, I don't know, we wouldn't call it a level, but like the first few minutes of the game.
Yeah.
And I remember playing it because I didn't have games, so I had to play demo discs that my cousin didn't want anymore.
Shout out to all the cousins.
And I couldn't believe that this like a game was doing these things, because before that I was just playing like Doom or like Jazz Jackrabbit or stuff like that. So it blew my mind that you could do so much, and there were different ways of going about it, and that there was a nerd who had a crowbar and
And there was also I'll say one of the bad guys, or the Kutachi's called a barnacle. And I was called that many years after that fucking game.
it also gave me jump scares because you don't know that the head crabs are going to do anything, and then you're just walking
And they jump.
and then you like on edge for the whole game.
And I think, wasn't there a version also where like one of those deluxe packs where they sold, where you got a crowbar with it? There was some game that gave a crowbar. Was it GTA?
That sounds like a GTA.
Yeah,
like they
sounds like
would do
something
something
Rockstar would do.
irresponsible.
You bought the thing, it gave you the game, a duffel bag, and then it was GTA. There's a duffel bag and a crowbar, then it's GTA.
That doesn't sound like a responsible thing to give people, like a crowbar. No,
That sounds like Rockstar.
That's just like, I think when we tell people if they know what it is,
Yeah.
comment.
Yes. As I said, if you know what it is, comment. The impact that Half-Life had as on like FPS is like,
Yo.
you know, you said it earlier, or like you've been saying it, like no Counter-Strike, no Team Fortress, none of that would have happened without like Half-Life.
I feel like you can even go as far as to say like no Steam
Yeah,
in general. Like
Valve,
what
Valve
you gonna
play-
play your games on?
Damn. That's actually.
So like, yeah.
And then
Half-Life.
also the thing of like telling a story in a first person thing and like stretching the time and stretching the stages. And also that, didn't they also have a thing where you must run back through stages? Where you run through a stage and then the basically the aliens take over, the aliens take over, so you must go through them again or some shit.
remember.
I
I'm
just
not sure.
remember, I just remember like pieces of Half-Life that was like, yeah.
I just remember that super long intro when you're on the mini train thing. I don't know what it's called. Where you just it's like basically like a tech demo, and they show you like the physics working in the background and stuff like that. And like even that was, I didn't understand how cool it was at that point, but I knew it was quiet. But yeah,
I would say probably the biggest kind of influence it had, obviously, is on Half-Life 2, which I think is probably one of the top 5 best first-person shooters ever.
It is Half-Life 2.
Hands
Yeah.
down, like
Like the physics in that game and the storytelling in that game is just next level. You can shoot saw blades with a gravity gun and chop people's heads off, and you can block doors with crates so enemies can't get to you. And none of that's like it's part of the game, of course, but they don't tell you to do that. You can just mess around and do that. And
Yeah.
obviously the physics stuff built in Half-Life 1 was improved to that. And then also Portal as well.
yes, Portal as well.
Because Portal 1 was a Half-Life 1 mod.
Yes, that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. And then Portal 2 was
Yeah.
obviously its own
I
thing.
feel like whoever thought that Portal, like as a concept, was like it's quantum physics, where you almost taking like imagination and like wild things into like numbers and games.
You know, when they talk about like thinking out of the box, I feel like that is it, but like not you thinking small scale out of the box. They like somewhere else.
Weren't they also the basis for Red Faction?
I don't know, but I think Red Faction definitely took a lot of inspiration from Half-Life. Like you can see its print on the game.
Yeah.
I mean, Red Faction just basically added geomod.
So, Brad, what is your game of the year for 98?
It was a toss-up between 2 for me. And those 2 is Pokemon Yellow, for obvious reasons, and then Grim Fandango. So I chose Grim Fandango, controversially kind of, although because like I'm more a Pokemon fan than I am a Grim Fandango fan, I would say back then I played Grim Fandango, whereas I only played Pokemon Yellow a lot later on in life.
Yeah.
So I-
Fair enough.
So I chose Grim Fandango just because of how much I enjoyed it back then in maybe 99, 2000, but it's definitely my game of the year for 98. It's just,
What's the game about? I know the posters, I know what the characters look like. I've seen the cutscenes, but I know nothing of the game.
general like kind of basis of it is that you play like a travel agent called Manny, but he's in the underworld. So he's obviously past when people die, they go to him as a travel agent to get like a deluxe package to the afterlife.
Like Coco, the movie.
Basically, yeah.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. And also Coco and this like share like the same DNA in terms of like the Mexican folklore that they draw from. Because like, yeah, and I mean, you can just kind of see it from the animation styles. Obviously 98, the animation style was a little bit rougher. But yeah, so basically you play this guy Manny and he's like a bit of a down on his luck travel agent and he doesn't get the good clients. And then something happens in the game where you try and get a good client and then some crazy things happen and then that's what kicks the story off.
Oh.
And then you go into all these different realms of the afterlife and you meet these other people that have died and it's a whole list of cool characters and it's really awesome. And like last week as well, my choice was Curse of Monkey Island.
It's the same studio.
Same studio, but this is like the next step because Curse of Monkey Island was like animated cartoon style, whereas this was like this and Monkey Island 4 were like the first 3D adventure games. So it's not point and click anymore. Now you fully control the character around the world. Kind of like, it's still also got those like pre-rendered backgrounds like Resident Evil. So it's like fixed camera angles, but it's I really love it. It's not a perfect game, though. Like the controls aren't great, and it would have worked better as a point and click, I think. But it's still really, really good.
So here's a question. Did it age well? Because I know you played the remake.
I played it recently, so it's on Game Pass, and I did get it also on my PS4 maybe 2 years ago on PS Plus. It was free for the month, the remaster. And everything has aged well except for the controls, I think. The remaster is cool as well because you can... some little small thing I love in remasters is when you can switch between the new version and the old version just with a click of a button.
Oh, snap.
So that's really cool. So Monkey Island games do it as well. The first two Monkey Island games, if you have the remakes, you can switch between like the old 8-bit graphics and then the new graphics. And the Grim Fandango one did that as well. Just with a click of, I think it was like R3 or something like that. And then it goes back to the old graphics and old music and everything like that.
But also the art style that they went with, I like when they don't go for like the full base graphics of the thing, but they rather go for a style.
Yeah.
And the style feels like even
its own thing.
Yeah, like it's, and I think the Switch or Nintendo always does, especially with the Switch way, they don't go for like the best looking graphics, but they give you an art style in the graphics.
Yeah.
So that you almost like appreciate it and it becomes timeless.
Exactly.
No, it gives it definitely like more identity than like, oh, it's gritty and it's this, and then it like just falls into like this whole silo of the same kind of
And
palette.
it doesn't age well.
Yeah, it doesn't.
No, so I would say, I mean, it like still the voice acting still holds up. Like it's funny and it's like well acted and it's like got that film noir style kind of thing to the whole game. So it's like the characters always like puffing their cigarette, looking out the window, like talking to themselves, their inner monologue.
Nice.
It's the art style is really, really cool. And I think it's probably, aside from just the story, it's one of the biggest selling points to me. Yeah, definitely.
I need to play this game.
So I think on Steam now, this game is constantly on sale. It's probably like between $50 and $100 at any given time.
and it's worth the money.
I think so. It's free on Game Pass, like I said. And I think on PlayStation, I checked earlier, it's like $200 on PS4 and 5. So it's not terrible, and it's a lot of fun if you just want to sit down and have like a fun story. And sit down there with a walkthrough and just play through the story. It's actually really fun. And then if you want to challenge yourself, go for it and play
without the walkthrough until you're like, no, I need help.
Yeah.
So we are listening to this in the year 2023, and by Brad's recommendation, it's still playable if you like puzzles and long stories.
So if you don't like it, then you must take it up with Brad.
Yeah.
No one ever does that in the comments.
Are you gonna
So
go?
yeah, I'll go next. And for me, it is Metal Gear Solid. Like for me, Metal Gear Solid was just one of those games that it just blew up like what the game could be.
Before you go any further to the listeners, we got a big thumbs down from Saeed. But carry on. The haters must know that the haters exist. Carry on with your Metal Gear Solid.
So here's the thing, like we had never really gotten any stealth games at this point. And like Metal Gear Solid was like one of the first, like originally like the first two were, but like that was way back when. It was way ahead of its time. But this was the one that sort of brought it to the mainstream, and it was its own story.
Metal Gear Solid 1 on PlayStation 1.
No, so this is Metal Gear Solid 1 on
Yeah.
PlayStation, but then there was Metal Gear and Metal Gear 2, which was on the MSX.
Yes, yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So, and this is like sort of self-contained, like it refers to that, but it's not really necessary. It had a crazy story, like there's plot twists everywhere. And I think it was just one of those games that forced you to like think out of the box.
Yeah.
Because you're so used to action games where you're like, okay, yeah, do the shoot everybody. Yeah, it's like no guns. What you gonna do? Like it kind of put you in that position where, okay, now you gotta figure it out. Here's a cardboard box to open.
Yeah.
That's when you think inside the box.
But it's
And if you go through the tunnel 20 times and then you see a lady do sit-ups naked, that's the other trick that they came to us.
But-
was it that? No,
yeah,
was
that was one of the things. But the
Was it
game did
real?
like so many
Yes,
like
that was a real trick also. One day we all went to Anwar and I was like, come on guys, I'll show you something. Then we sat there for long just going through the damn tunnel.
just
up and
waiting,
down,
just so
up
you
and
could
down.
show us
And
that.
then we saw it and we were like, also because it was like
4 pixels.
Yeah, it was
You're like-
Tomb Raider
You're like,
quality.
okay, Okay, that's, I guess.
Then also the game, was that the game also where you must put the controller?
Yes, I was about to talk about that also. Like, that thinking out of the box thing was just mental. Like, the boss fights were crazy. Like, you had that where one of the bosses, Psycho Mantis, was psychic. So he was it was programmed to read you inputs from the first player controller. So you put it in the second player and you can't. It makes the fight so much easier. And like those touches.
But did they explain that in the game, or did the walkthrough explain that?
So they didn't tell you like overtly. It was like things that people like stumbled onto, you know?
It's still wild to me that was a thing on PS1. Like they could program that into the game
Yes.
back
like,
then. On such
you know, it was like,
Yeah.
you think about it like you would read your memory card and tell you what games are saved on there.
Yes, I forgot about
So you
that.
go like, those are things when you're playing that you like, how are they doing
like
this?
a magic trick.
Like,
So is that the same game where you could like wait for somebody to die?
no, that was Metal Gear Solid 3 and the boss is the end. So it's this one over here. So there was, you could either fight him as a boss battle, so he's like a sniper, or you could shoot. There was a cutscene that happened where you could shoot him in that, like after that cutscene, and he would just die, and you wouldn't have that boss battle.
So then what happens at the end of the game if you've killed
No,
him?
he's not. He's like a mid-level
Oh,
boss
okay.
man. So you just run through the section where he's supposed to be. It's just like there's no boss battle, yeah.
And
No
then there was-
cutscenes.
Yeah, then there was like the normal way to kill him, which was like
You could set your clock forward, and then he
Yes.
just dies of
no, but
old age.
that was also a trick though, because
Yeah.
then so you could set your PS2's clock forward so he dies because he was like an old sniper guy.
He's
and
like
then-
100 years old,
yeah.
bruh, and he's like,
And then there was
Old
just the
age.
normal way, which was like he was always in the distance, but then you'd catch like the glint off the sun off his rifle, and then you could see where he is, and then you snipe him.
Oh,
I remember my friend coming to school the next day because he borrowed Metal Gear Solid 3 from me,
yeah.
and
It's-
he was just mind blown at that. Like,
It's that level of like creativity where they're like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
each boss had like its own unique kind of play style.
But also the thing of having a story, because if you look at games like that, it was also popular at the time as like your Final Fantasy series where you had to go through that rhythm of doing
Yes.
this, doing that, doing this. And a game that allowed you to change its own story.
Yeah.
And deal with it how you want in your own time.
Yeah, it was just, to me, it was mind blowing. I actually remember when I first played it and I was just like, why did they not give this bra a gun? Like, please, this does not help my situation.
Also, dying of old age is such a funny thing to do to a boss. Just wait it out.
Just like, yeah, time comes for us. Oh, your time is up. But yeah, Metal Gear Solid was just one of those experiences.
Did you guys watch the movie? What is the movie? It was
all of them are movies.
Yeah, all of them are movies.
But it was a Hollywood movie. That was I can't get to the guy's name now, but he had this long hair and
Talking about Escape from LA.
yeah, Escape from LA was also
Snake.
yeah. That was also Metal Gear Solid, basically, isn't it?
No, I think that was just the name Snake.
So the name, like the character, like Hideo Kojima actually took inspiration from that, and he based.
So it's the other way around.
Yeah, he took inspiration from that, and it was like he modeled
Yeah.
Snake after that. So it was
I can't remember the guy's name.
Kurt
Kurt
Russell,
Russell, yeah.
Snake Plissken.
Yeah. And then
Mr. Nobody from Fast and Furious.
that's also true. Wasn't he also in the Marvel universe also?
Yeah,
Yeah,
Someone's
he was
father.
Ego.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that game was just for me ahead of its time, and it brought in the stealth genre because after that we got Tenshu, we got Splinter Cell, we got
Siphon.
Hitman,
Wasn't Siphon?
Siphon Filter also
Yeah.
came.
Hitman.
So yeah, it basically brought like a whole new genre to the table. And you don't see that often in today's day and age.
And it also had Moose cutscenes.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, you could take a break. You could go.
wasn't there one of the Metal Gear Solids that had like 4 hours of cutscenes or
Yeah,
something?
that's Metal Gear Solid 4. It's like more cutscenes and gameplay. But that
Yeah.
was like the wrap up of that part
that
of the
scene.
saga.
And then also, this one is also a clone, and this one is also from the same spawn, and
Yes.
this one is Metal Gear Rat, and this one is Metal Gear like
Yes.
Snake, and then
This is why I couldn't get into it. Like, I appreciate the game for what it is and for what it did for the genre and for just gaming as a whole. But so this is a game for me that I would sit and watch my friend play.
yes,
This is
Um,
this is a
yeah.
game like it's not for you,
No.
but you understand the impact it had.
Exactly.
And you can appreciate what's happening also.
So I'm definitely gonna when the remakes of the first 3 come out,
We must play it.
we must definitely play
We
it.
must play it together.
And I'd be
actually.
keen because I think maybe one of the things I didn't like the most, because I played it very late on, was the control scheme and like the control scheme was very good. Don't get me wrong, but like I was more used to like the free flowing 3D control scheme, like of like this current gen and the last gen, like, and that was very blocky for me. I don't know how else to explain it. Like,
Yes.
it was very, and I would get caught every single time. And yes, I know I was probably very shit at the game, but it wasn't fun for me. So that's
No.
why I'd rather watch someone who's
I
good at
get-
the game play it.
I get exactly what
So
you're
I
saying.
hope-
Because the game is stealth heavy, so
Yeah.
it's meant to be like stop and go, and it's like you used to like that free movement.
Whereas Brad is more God of War, bruh. That just
I will
kick
fight-
every door, break everything.
I will
possible.
fight my way through this.
But also, I love stealth games, and so I played Metal Gear Solid 3 maybe a year ago again on PS2, and I'm the kind of guy in a stealth game. As soon as I get caught, no, I'm restarting that section, and I have to do it right. Every single section, I have to do it right. And after the intro cutscene of an hour and a half, I started playing, and I'm like, okay, I'm enjoying
Is
this.
it
I'm enjoying
skippable?
this.
yeah.
I think so, but then you lost. You
Yeah,
completely
that's
lost.
Like if you want to take in the story, then
Yeah.
then you go and skip it. But if you don't, skip it.
It wasn't me. Metal Gear was also the first to have like time bonuses, isn't it? Where you can
Yes.
like you unlock other things if you can run through without getting caught. Or you
Yes,
can run
here's
through.
the wild thing. So there's like a torture scene in the game, and you can either submit or you can push through, and you get different items based on what you get. You either get the stealth gear if you
Yeah.
submit, so you can just go fully invisible, essentially,
And just
except
run.
against the bosses. Like they can still hear you,
Yeah.
but like it makes the game a lot easier. And then if you don't submit, you get the infinite ammo bandana. So then you can just kill everybody.
That sounds fun.
But it's wild because if you submit, then it's like we'll make it easier to stealth. Like if you think about it, like
I'll take it though. It's fun.
Yeah.
you don't lose either way,
Yeah.
and I think that's cool. It also makes you want to play the game again.
Then
Wait, sorry, before we move on, do you understand the timeline of
Oh, Metal Gear Solid.
of the or whatever world the
Yes,
world
I
that's
actually do, but there's not enough time in this part. I will do a separate video to like explain the timeline
That's
and the
but
characters.
but that's one of your top franchises, though,
yeah,
isn't it?
it is. And I mean, like the fact that it's a franchise that's lasted to this day, it still holds so much weight. It just speaks.
Shadley was a
to-
big fan. Shadley used to wear a bandana everywhere, like just like Metal Gear.
What?
That's,
No,
that's what the listeners don't hear.
no.
The listeners
Yaaseen
don't
is
see.
like.
I'm
I
never
never-
lied.
And break time at school, he was just in the shadows.
Okay, that might.
Shadley used to go to the shop to get Simba boxes. Then he said, "No, I'm moving. Can't you get there to his house?" Then he's loving in the boxes. So
I'm hiding
it's
there.
only
Like,
barbecue flavor for me.
Just like, no.
For me, so here's the thing. It's FIFA 98. FIFA 98 is my game, right? For the year 98. But does it fall under 98 if it comes out in 97?
Listen, this is our podcast. We can do whatever the hell.
Okay,
we like.
and then as the listeners, the four of us here.
And I think we only played it really.
Yeah, we only
Yeah.
got games. So
And it has 98 in its title, so we're gonna be pedantic.
So
yeah.
for me, the game of the year the main one is 98, right? But before I get there, it's Commandos, StarCraft, and Hot Pursuit is in the tops. Because Commandos was one way you needed to work as a team for yourself. That's the one thing that you learned. And then
that game was wild because that game was difficult.
it was freak difficult. And even if you played it on any level, you go, oh no, I need to learn a whole set of skills of managing. Like proper management.
Yeah,
that's essentially how you got through the game.
That's project management.
And then there was StarCraft because you could learn to play. So that was the game that started us all like, oh, I must bring my whole computer to my bra's house. to just a box. So there was this thing called the tower. It was a big box.
I still have one somewhere.
Are you sure?
Said as a child. And then, we had to, basically, I left my computer the whole weekend there by Anwar's house because we just played StarCraft. And I also think it's one of those games where it was so monumental in the games we play now and the genres that came afterwards as well. Then there's Hot Pursuit. And Hot Pursuit, I don't know why it was better than the other. Was it the thing that you were chased?
Yeah, the police.
Yeah, I think it was just.
That was the first game.
I feel like that was one of the best Need for Speed games out there.
So Hot Pursuit, I think, was the first car game that almost felt to the real world we were getting chased. Because all the other car games that we knew was...
Toker.
yeah, it was like racetrack games and like Gran Turismo, and it was all like track-based games. And even when we played it, like the games that played in the street was all like, oh, you're still playing on a track in the street. This game felt like, oh shit, it was the police.
Yeah.
And then also the police had also better cars.
And they had a helicopter, didn't they have a helicopter?
Yes. And you had to knock the car. So it brought out, because it had official cars that you could also take out other cars. Because all the other genres that did that stuff was like, what's it? The game on the bike where you must kick the people off the bike. Like road rage and stuff like that. So that was all like fun, but none of it was official cars. This game was official cars that allowed you to knock other cars, and like it felt like you were actually being chased.
Felt meaty.
Yes. And then, so yeah, those are the three games. But FIFA 98, I feel like was the start. I feel like it was the start of FIFA. Anything before that was like, it also, I think it was the first one that had the camera angle, it had all those other things, and you could just press circle and it would shoot straight for the goal. And you just press the like R1 and it would curl fucked up also. And you'd see that curl happen, and it was so just.
Do you remember that you could also change like the referee strictness and stuff? So you could make it.
Oh yeah.
So you could like slide. You could moor the other team.
And also, wasn't it Blur song too? Also?
Yeah, that's the most iconic thing. I think when you say FIFA 98, that's what you remember.
That's the first thing.
That's the first thing. So I feel like for me, that song was the start of gaming culture that became pop culture.
Yes.
That went into the world. So for me, FIFA 98 is my game of the year because it changed. It also got so many people involved in gaming because of that thing that it had as well.
And it had also like an indoor soccer mode, I remember. Which was like,
also, it was dope because you could just moor the ball to the side and then you could basically cross to someone against the wall and like shoot it around.
Yeah, it was liquor. And then, do you remember that cheats?
Yes.
Yeah, that big hit mode, and there was hot potato. Hot potato was freak funny. So like, whoever had the ball, like when the counter went down, like the whole team just fell over.
Yes.
So
which also happened in real life once though, but that's on the sad stories of soccer.
But yeah, I feel like they did so much with it. Like they just went boss on it.
It was also that thing of EA coming with the fire music.
Yes.
Like, and then also again, because even with EA with Need for Speed and the Hot Pursuit, the music wasn't like such a big factor. But I feel like with FIFA, they started giving that music.
Yeah.
And then
it started with a song too, if you think about it. Like that was
that intro
for them where they were like, nah, we gotta give them bangers now.
It was also the first time we heard It's in the Game.
Yeah.
Which is a thing I think you can say across the world, and everyone goes, oh, it's time for FIFA.
The elder millennials, they will be like,
yeah, it's a calling song.
You'll just see like meerkats, the ears will pick up and be like.
It also got, I feel like because it happened within the World Cup, it was a time where the nerds and the sport people could all speak about the same thing where, because I was like, I didn't get into, I'll say soccer until those things where I was like, oh, I know that player from that thing. Now you see him in the thing and you go, oh, that's where all the stuff happened.
Yeah, it really was. Like it started like merging like soccer culture, man. Like, I'll be honest, I also didn't know like a lot back then about soccer. And then it's like suddenly you know all these players, you know all these clubs, and you're like, what's happening here? Like,
So for me, FIFA 98 is the game of 98.
Do you think FIFA 98 is the most iconic FIFA game in the series?
That's a tough one.
I would say yes, in the sense that it introduced like you were talking about the music. The different game modes. I think it introduced those. Maybe I don't know, 97, 96. I don't really know that. But I would assume because these were the first ones on like home consoles that were maybe a bit more powerful. Because if you think about it now, for me, the first thing when I open a new FIFA, I go to EA Sports Tracks and I go, what songs are on here?
Yeah.
And same with Need for Speed, like you were talking about now, because EA have both of them and EA Tracks is in both of them. That's the first thing I go listen to.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, you talk about the indoor mode on 98. Now we've got Volta. Well, had Volta, RIP.
What is Vault? I think
It's the
back,
five-a-side.
Is it in
it's back in the
EAFC?
new one, yeah. And you
Okay.
can play it online.
That's pretty cool.
It's the five-a-side.
Yeah, it's like five-a-side indoor.
Is that the league that they started in like that league they started in Spain? Is in Spain?
Oh, no, it's
I don't
not
know.
Kings League.
Yeah.
PK's League. No, it's
Nah,
not that.
Did
it's
you
not
see
that-
that league?
They've,
I
like,
heard about.
they've got weird rules.
It's
Yeah.
it's like a game. Like it feels like a game where you can draw a card and like use a card at a specific time, and you must
No.
take penalties from like
No,
the
it's
halfway
like
mark or
proper like
something.
five-a-side soccer where it's just
Yeah.
like it's set in an indoor arena. Except this time there are outs. There's no like wall around.
True. But yeah, so I would say, to answer your question, I would say yes. That's the first FIFA game that I know.
Yeah, I would say probably maybe 98, but I would also say I'm not sure if it's like 08 to 09, just because that was when it's moved on to PS3 and then the game changed. Like then
That's
it was
also
like
true.
insane, like to see what they could do
Yeah.
with the game and how it felt and how it played and how everybody was terrible in the beginning of that game because nobody knew the
What-
mechanics and what to and just how to play the game basically. And then they had like that filters over all of the like the menus and stuff to make it look like more, when they
Like
wanted like
glossy.
PS3 games to look better
Oh,
than
yeah.
they had like blur, like half blurry kind of thing. Like when people also always do their photos like
Oh, the vignettes.
Like
Oh
the-
my god.
like let's make it soft.
Thank
focus or
God that
whatever.
it is done.
Styles. But also I feel like between 98 to 08 is the same gap between Tony Hawk's 3 and like between Tony Hawk's 2 and Tony Hawk's 3. Where they introduced like a whole new button system, a whole new like way of playing the game. Like the thing of there's the base and everybody can have fun. And then there's like the skills
Yeah.
and like you can tap a ball and you can do like your own bicycle and stuff like that. I was like, yeah.
That's one thing they did right, I would say, for a time, is like they evolved FIFA like every maybe 4 years.
Yeah.
To like the same base game or the same base idea. Obviously, you're playing football, but then like they introduce a new thing or they completely ramp up the graphics. Like I would say, even going from 98 to 2002, like I remember the 2002 World Cup game.
Yes.
I was blown away by those graphics. But if I go back now, it's Dan
Yeah.
with a flat face. Like,
But
yeah.
it was, but the players were recognizable. That's the other thing.
Exactly.
For
yeah.
the time.
For the time, yeah. If you go back now, you look at Patrice Evra, you're like, what the hell?
Are you okay?
But yeah, so EA did that well. And I think maybe now with EAFC coming out at the end of this year, or next month,
Yeah.
at time of recording,
Yeah.
I
next
hope it's going to be an evolution. I really do, because I'm getting real sick of paying R1,500 a year for the same
Yeah.
game.
For me, it has to like 98 is just like iconic. It's
Yeah.
it's the one like that always sticks out in my mind. Like yes, we have 2006, 08,
Yeah.
12, all greats, but like 98 is always there in that discussion. So it's like I
What-
can't take that
So
out.
it's Blur Song 2. What was the next banger that we had?
I would say the Kings of Leon.
We know Sun in what's it?
Rock and roll.
That
Yeah,
was
I think-
2013.
Was
It's
it
later.
I think it was 13, yeah. I remember because I had
And
13, yeah.
when was Out on the Street, they call it murder.
Around the same time, I think.
Was it this?
I think 13 had probably the best soundtrack of the modern FIFAs. FIFA 23 had a good soundtrack because it was a nostalgic one. It
Yeah.
had Song 2, it had Kings of Leon, it had all the classic bangers on it.
Oh.
FIFA 23, yeah.
I mean, but it is technically the last FIFA game.
yeah, exactly. Going out on
So-
a
They knew what
on a
was
high.
happening.
Yeah, so I think they wanted to tap into that and be like, just give us your money.
So that's all our game of the year for 98. If you are listening, watching, or whatever you're doing to get this in your head, tell us what is your game of 98.
If you're not old enough, then
Go Google and see.
go Google, go find out, go ask your uncles.
Also go see
do
what was
research.
maybe you're playing the sequel now to a game that started in 98. Go find it, come tell us. Also like, subscribe, share, comment,
Find us on every possible platform known to man.
and tell us the things.
And go spam other people and tell us to sponsor us. Thank you.
I'm Yaaseen Bonds.
I'm Shadley Desai.
I'm Saeed.
I'm Brad.
They only have certain names. That's we have certain names. And this is the Coffee and Controller podcast. Thank you for listening. Bye.